All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to get into talking about my power rankings, my top 5 teams after week 3. And again, it's tough. It's tough. These are very hard to do, but let's get into it. So, starting off at, I got to change some things around here, but starting off, hang with me. We're gonna get it up. Starting at number 5, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right. The Eagles are in the top 5. Now, the reason for this is, look, I know Jalen Hurts, it was a mixed bag. Had some bad turnovers in the game, but the Eagles put up 460 yards of total offense in this game without A.J. Brown. And then they lost Devontae Smith later in the game. So they were down their top 2 wideouts. The big thing for me here is just the degree of difficulty. They were playing against a team that put up 40 points in week 1, 40 points in week 2. Now they got to play them in their building. The Eagles' defense did not look great the first 2 weeks. But here was locked down. No big plays from Rashid Shaheed in this game. Didn't have a single catch. Although one of them he should have caught for a touchdown, but didn't. Got turnovers. Derek Carr threw an interception at the end of the game. Held the Saints offense to 12 points. And then on top of that, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is a difference maker on this team. You see how DeAndre Swift is playing with the Bears now. You could look at the Bears' offensive line as part of the problem, but the Eagles really did upgrade at the running back position by getting Saquon Barkley. He's been a difference maker. Sorry, holding back a sneeze. Again, happens at least once, but Saquon Barkley has been great. Dallas Goedert really came up big in this game as well, on that 3rd and 16. So, if we're going to get that Eagles defense from here on out, and Jalen Hurts can limit the turnovers, this team is going to be really good. And I said it before the year started. I said that this Eagles team will return similarly to how it was in 2022. And if you don't want to go that far, at least before the collapse last year. This team right now is the best team in the division. And this might be an overreaction just because it's 1 week. But, I mean, the Eagles for me are still, even with the loss of the Falcons, they're still a top 10. Maybe after the Falcons lost, they were, outside of the top 10. But this win right here really brought them up, because I was definitely impressed. Really more impressed by the defense, because I just thought the defense was going to get shredded, and that didn't happen. So I got the Eagles at number 5. At number 4, you got the Detroit Lions. Again, the offense, it's not looked great. Jared Goff, similar to Jalen Hurts, he's turning the ball over still. And that's something that they're going to have to clean up, which I think they will as the season progresses. Jameson Williams, after the first 2 weeks, was quiet in this game, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, he's going to have some more big games, coming up here. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the opposite. Slow week 1. These last 2 weeks has been money. But again, similar to the Eagles, the defense, the Cardinals, we saw what they did against the Rams. Marvin Harrison Jr. was awesome in that game. James Conner's been doing good. Kyler Murray. And the Lions defense shut them down. So if the Lions defense is going to be like that, also Aiden Hutchinson, the 4.5 sack game against Baker Mayfield. If this Lions defense is going to continue to be like that, this team that makes this team even more dangerous than previously. Because, last year it was all about their offense. I mean, yes, they had Aiden Hutchinson, of course, and, the defense still would create turnovers, but they would give up a lot of yards at times. But the Lions got a defense now. That makes them even more of a problem here. But yeah, Jared Goff still hasn't looked great, but he's going to get it going. And once he gets it going, this team is, going to really take off. So I got them at the number 4 spot. Then at number 3, got to put the Vikings here. The Vikings have been very impressive so far. Of course, I saw them up close and personal in week 1 when they took on the Giants. Now, I don't feel as bad about that loss now because the Vikings, these back-to-back home games against the 49ers and the Texans, that's the thing. It's not like they went up against some inferior opponents. They went up against 2 teams that, people have going to the Super Bowl. Like the Niners, of course, people are going to have them going to the Super Bowl. And then the Texans, there's definitely people out there that got them going to the Super Bowl as well with the amount of talent that they got on their squad. Sam Darnold has looked really impressive so far. You can make the argument that he's an MVP candidate right now. You also look at, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, a veteran that they bring in, he's been good so far. Justin Jefferson, coming back healthy this year. I know he got banged up in the Niners game, but he was impressive here. The Vikings look like a solid team right now. And on top of that, the defense taking the ball away, giving this offense good field position. They're a complete team right now. They are playing really good football, and you got to like where they're at right now, 3-0. And again, the competition that they went up against. So you really got to buy in. I buy more so into what the what they got going on as opposed to the Saints. I think the Vikings, they can sustain this. For the Saints, I don't know. I think, of course, they're still going to be in the mix for the NFC South, but I just think that the Vikings can sustain this more. So, and I ended up hitting the wrong button here, but So we'll move on to talking about the next team. All right, there we go. So now we'll move on to taking on the. My allergies are kind of acting up, so that's kind of why I had to. I have to. I got the sniffles now here, so that's why I had to do that. But anyways, so now we'll move on to the next team, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. So I got to put them at 2. I don't really feel great about them right now. Offensively, Mahomes hasn't been great to start off the year. He's thrown some bad interceptions, other than the Odell Beckham Jr. catch for the interception. Has not been great. And, Travis Kelce, he was the topic of conversation the entire time on Sunday night, just that he really wasn't getting involved in the offense. Kelce's going to have big games. People are talking about is Kelce in shape, whatever the case is. He's going to get it going. And look, we saw this last year. The Chiefs, they struggled, and then what happened? Travis Kelce in that offense, they started clicking. And they played how they were supposed to the whole year. So even if this year, Kelce's not really doing much, Mahomes is turning the ball over, once they get to the playoffs, this is a completely different team. And that's why I would not be worried, if I'm a Chiefs fan. Now, for the rest of the NFL, that's a different story. They just don't want to see the Chiefs anymore. Well, the Chiefs are going to continue to be here. They take on the Chargers now this week, who odds are they're probably not going to have Justin Herbert. So the Chiefs should win that game. But yeah, they're a top 5 team right now. The defense, I feel like, has taken a little bit of a step back from last year. I don't know. That's just me. They did lose some guys like L'Jarius Sneed. They lost him. So, but this is still a very good team. And they're without Isaiah Pacheco as well. So, once they get him back, they'll be at full strength. But yeah, got to put them at 2. And then at number 1, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they've been unbelievable to start off the year. Josh Allen, that defense, the defense that lost, some pieces, that they're playing well. But Josh Allen looks like, the front runner for MVP. And I mean, you saw on full display on Monday what him and that offense can do. And you really wondered what it was going to be like without Stephon Diggs. And doesn't really seem like they miss him. Keon Coleman had his first touchdown. Khalil Shakir, who I think he's a good player for them. He's been doing well. James Cook, of course, has been playing well. You got Dalton Kincaid involved. He had a touchdown in the game. I mean, against the Jags. The Bills look awesome right now. And could this be the year that they finally get it done and get past the Chiefs in the playoffs? I mean, that's way down the line, but right now, you got to like how they're playing. And the other thing, too, is Josh Allen is not turning the ball over. He's not turning the ball over. And that is very encouraging. Because if he can continue that, this team's going to be in good shape. And you look at the AFC East, right now it looks like it's going to come down to the Jets or the Bills. And they're playing each other in a few weeks. Week 6 on Monday Night Football at MetLife Stadium. That is going to be a humongous game that I cannot wait for. So, yeah, I got them at number 1. I mean, they're just playing lights out football. So to kind of go through it again, 5, we got the Eagles. 4, the Lions. 3, the Vikings. 2, the Chiefs. And then at 1, we have the Buffalo Bills. Let me know what you guys think about these rankings. How would you rank your top teams in the NFL? Your top 5. Let me know in the comments. I feel like that's a good top 5. But it's hard. You guys know me. I've said it a lot. I'm not a big fan of doing rankings because they're just impossible. Because you can make the argument for who should be in the 5. You could say the Saints still should be in the 5, but and the Buccaneers, I mean, they were top 5 going into. You could make the argument for them going into the week against the Broncos, but then they laid an egg. So it's really tough. It's really tough. So yeah, with that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to give all the other shows some love, like I always say. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.